first tools I want to talk about with the Fletcher's field tool are the Allens. To me, I think Allen's wrenches are probably the most used tool on a bow. You're going to use them for everything. And for the guys out there who are new and don't know what an Allen bolt is or an Allen wrench, it's a hex-shaped tool that fits into a hex-shaped hole on a bolt, and you can tighten it or loosen it. It's a really simple tool. It's a no-brainer. But bows are just littered with them. I mean, literally from the top to the bottom to the front to the back, there's Allen wrenches all over it. And they make key adjustments on your rest, on your sights, draw stops on your cams. I mean, tons of places that you need to have an Allen wrench. Okay, and there's a bunch on here. They go from 3/16 on here, which is the biggest one, all the way down to this little bitty tiny one. And I don't even know what size it is. I mean, it's literally like skinnier than a toothpick. I don't know if you can see that thing or not right there, but that thing is just tiny, tiny. I'd have to probably get glasses out because I'm an old guy to end up seeing what I'm trying to tighten up. Okay, so that's the Allens, and there's a bunch of them on there, a whole bunch of them. And that tool, just having those Allens on there, eliminates this whole entire tool, which is the same thing, basically. It's got a bunch of Allen wrenches on it, but that's all it is. Okay, the other thing that's cool about it, inside the Allen wrenches, you got two there. It's a flat tip and a Phillips head screwdriver. And there's a lot of bows that don't have any of these on there. I'll be honest with you about it. But things for like quiver brackets, some sight housings will have it. You'll get into where your quivers themselves oftentimes have some Phillips head screws on there. So not necessarily as essential as the Allens are or as widespread as the Allens are, but definitely could be handy if you needed a Phillips screwdriver or a straight screwdriver, and it sure beats carrying these two big dudes around in your pocket. Okay. Then on the back side of it, you got the little crescent wrench, and it'll open up, I'd say, to a 1/2 inch. You know, whatever. I'm not sure what size that is. It's about a 1/2 inch, and it's a nice little wrench, and it folds away and tucks in behind the little pack itself. It keeps it out of the way. And on the Allens, on the crescent wrench, there's tons of stuff on a bow. I mean, you can make adjustments on stuff like, say, if you're using a string suppressor, there's a nut right here. It's a hex head. That's perfect. Boom, you can tighten that up. Things like my bow pod, I can tighten that up there if I need to. Some rest bolts will not use an Allen like the old burger button type screws. They'll actually use hex heads. I've seen that happen before too. And there's lots of things. The sights have them on there in places. They're widespread, sporadic, not as common as the Allens there again, but they are on bows, and you will need that tool. The other thing, which is, and that honestly, look, it replaces this. I mean, you know, come on, man. Do you ever think there's a nut that big on your bow? I hope not. If it is, your bow's nuts. But anyway, yeah. So it replaces that thing. The other thing that a lot of guys don't have, and I think is really necessary because it's a safety feature as much as it is just a handy tool, but is a broadhead wrench. And that's what they look like. That's a separate broadhead wrench, and you can carry that in your pocket. And I suggest you got to get one. If you don't buy one of these tools, definitely buy your own broadhead wrench, because trust me, I got scars on my hands that'll prove why you need to use it. When you're tightening or loosening a broadhead, if you don't use a broadhead wrench, you're going to end up cutting yourself. There's no ifs, whens, or any of that kind of stuff. It's going to happen. You're going to cut your finger, you're going to cut your hand, and you could make it bad. I mean, I know guys who've had to get stitches. I know one of my friends ended up getting cut with his broadhead, and you know, he bled a lot, had to have blood. I mean, so he got cut really bad, and it was a complete accident. They're dangerous, and we all know that. And I can't reiterate enough. I mean, it's not a safety video, but anyway, definitely use a broadhead wrench. And the nice thing about this Fletcher's tool is on the back of it, it has one. It's built right in there. I'm thinking you can see that. It's right, little 3-bladed broadhead wrench, and that's perfect. You just insert your arrow, your broadhead right into it. You can tighten it or loosen it, whatever you need to do. Boom. And it works for mechanicals, and it'll work for fixed blade broadheads as well. All right, well, whether you're a seasoned veteran or a newbie, you guys need the Jim Fletcher field tool. You know, because the main thing is you're going to have to make sight adjustments on your bow. and you never know what kind of bolt or screw you're going to run into. 9 times out of 10 it's an Allen wrench, but you never know, it might be a Phillips or a flat tip. You never can tell. You're going to need it. You got to make your sight adjustments yourself. Nobody can do that for you, so you got to have the tools to do that. Bam, it's right here. Rest adjustments when you're broadhead tuning, that type of thing, definitely. Something comes loose on your bow randomly just from shooting it. New bows have that happen a lot. It does happen. You got the tool to fix it. Number one thing I think out of the whole thing is the broadhead wrench on the back. It's actually, we're just now doing this, but we're stating the law that you got to have a broadhead wrench, because if you cut yourself with a broadhead because you weren't using a wrench, you go to the hospital and you have to, they're going to make you pay cash money right there in gold doubloons, because being stupid and lazy and not using the right tool for the job is no excuse for getting cut. Straight up, guys. That rule has been instituted by me and bowtuningtips.com. We've instituted that rule, so you know what happens if you get cut when you go to the hospital. You better have some gold doubloons to pay the doctor. Straight up. Just don't be stupid and be safe. Number one is what I'm thinking, guys. And there's no excuse. This tool doesn't cost that much, and it's great. You can get them anywhere. You can get them at the Bow Tuning Tips store, which is in that link down below in the description. You can click on that, take you straight to the store, and bam, you can get one. Okay, guys, that's this week's video. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you learned a little bit about the Jim Fletcher's tool and you got to see it in action. Until next time, you guys be sure to stay tuned. I'll see you then.